Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a brief video. I just want to talk about my Goodreads goal that I managed in 2020 and what my Goodreads goal will be in 2021. Now, before I tell you about that, I do want to tell you what I accomplished in 2018 and 2019. And I will put graphics up to support these stats, some of them anyway. For 2018, I read 311 books, but my goal started off at 250 and I increased it to 285, but I was able to get 311 books read. Now, that was significant because prior to 2018, I had been on a 6 or 7 year reading drought. I went through some things at the beginning of the last decade, and I pretty much stopped reviewing. I was reviewing for Romantic Times Book Club magazine. I had my own Yahoo group, and I reviewed for 4 other Yahoo groups. So I was reviewing for 6 sources for 2 or 3 years, and I stopped. But during those years of drought, I did follow James Patterson's Alex Cross series and part of the Women's Murder Club series. For James Patterson, I'm only 1 book behind, which is his most recent book, but for the Women's Murder Club, I only got to the 10th book. I also read, it might be Michael Donnelly, I'm guessing on that, but he has this Irish detective, and I read several books in that series and in other connected series. So during that drought, I read dozens of James Patterson books. Another author, and the only other author I read during those years, was Catherine Coulter, and I read her Brit in the FBI series. I never missed a book. I never read anything out of order, and even now I am on time with that series. Sorry, I just hit the iPad. And I was also reading her Brit in the FBI series. So there was an overall reading drought, but I never left those 2 authors behind anytime they released a book. And then in 2018, I joined NetGalley and I went to Goodreads and I set a Goodreads goal, and that's the goal that I mentioned, starting at 250 that I increased to 285. And then in 2019, I decided to set a goal of 365, looking at let's try to get a book a day read. For 2019, I was able to almost double what I read in 2018 by reading 539 books. And then for 2020, I set a goal of 500. I met that goal, I believe, in September or October. I did not increase my goal. I just kept it so it would be an overage based on what I was able to read. And I'm so glad I didn't raise it, because I went through some things October, November, and December, but particularly in November and December, which lowered my reading ratio. But even so, I finished off 2020 at 626 books. So I've been increasing my reading each year. According to Goodreads, I was 109% of my 2018 goal, 148% of my 2019 goal, and 125% of my 2020 goal. So I decided to keep my goal for 2021 at 500. Now, because of how Goodreads tabulates things, I am quote unquote behind 4 books. I am currently reading the 2nd book of the month. So in order to achieve my goal, I have to read a book and a half a day. I knew that I was going to get off to a slow and rocky start in 2021 because up until October, I was reading between 50 and 70 books a month. In November, I read 23, and in December, I read 13. So going into 2021 with a Goodreads goal 500 was a little risky because I haven't quite gotten my groove back. I've had some issues in another area that has put a hindrance on my reading, but I still feel good about the goal of 500 with the inside feeling that I want to surpass the 626 that I read in 2020. But I'm not going to pressure myself. I don't feel that it's any kind of pressure. I just have to shake off the negative and look at the positive. So like, for example, this month I read Single Mother by Samantha Hayes. I read that on, I believe, the 2nd and the 3rd. It took a couple of days because, like I said, I'm trying to get my groove back. And now I am reading Marianne Lane in The Midnight Murder. And I kind of like the one, I like Single Mother. And I wrote that review, and that review is up on my blog. But Marianne Lane and the Midnight Murder is kind of a light mystery with a little bit of humor and a little bit of, it's kind of a little fantastical, and some of the theories and things that are happening in the book. And I'm only 33% in the book, which I will finish it today. But knowing that I've got to rise out of the depths of the despair that was weighing me down for the last 2.5 months, it will take me probably all of January, maybe even into February, to get ahead of what Goodreads is charting me. But I'm really not worried about that, believe it or not. And again, for those of you, whether you set goals or whether you don't set goals, this is not a pressure situation. This is just a goal that I feel comfortable with. So I went to Goodreads this morning, and I want to go to my bookmarks so that I can tell you the exact names of the 2 groups. And let's go to my bookmarks bar. And the 2 groups that I reset my challenge for 2021 is the Goodreads challenge group. And of course, I'm not bringing it up. What is the other one? Why are they not coming up? Goodreads challenge group and the Challenge Factory. So I set my goal in both of those groups for the same 500 that I did for the overall Goodreads challenge. But the reason that I like those 2 groups is because I can incorporate book covers and title names, which will be links, direct links, so that when I incorporate them in my blog, if somebody is reading my blog and they see a book that they're interested in that I've read, they just have to click that book cover and it will take them right to Goodreads. So that's why I use those challenge groups on Goodreads for the long range planning when it comes to my blog. So basically, that's all I've got to say. I will be resuming blog related data on this channel. I will start bringing back in my TBRs, my weekly and my monthly wrap-ups, which I don't think I've done since October because there's been a lot of chaos going on. I also will be continuing to incorporate diamond painting related content to this channel, and maybe even my jigsaw puzzles again, which I am working on one right now. It's in my bedroom. But I just wanted to bring in this video to let you know that I set a goal for 500 books for 2021, but I know that I will be behind schedule for several weeks until I get back to reading that 1.5 to 2 books a day. I do have a TBR in the Challenge Factory group, and I will be adding to that TBR. Last year, I finished maybe 24 series. Some were very long, such as the J.D. Robb In-Depth series. Oh, I can't sign into Google because I was hacked today, so I've got to I wanted to show you my spreadsheet, but I can't even do that. I was hacked this morning, so I have to change my password in Google Sheets. But anyway, last year I created an elaborate spreadsheet with maybe 36 series, and I achieved more than 2/3 of that. I accomplished over 2/3 of that massive spreadsheet, which ended up being 2 pages long or 2 screens long, like the J.D. Robb In-Depth series. Of course, I mentioned Catherine Coulter earlier. I'm up to date on that series. Kristen Hanna had a couple of short series, and some other authors that I can't name because I can't access my spreadsheet without going into some screens to deal with the hacking that happened this morning. But I want to tell you this one author, but she wrote 3 different series, and I read all of those series. Iris Johansen, I'm caught up with hers. I mean, I read a lot of series. I read a lot of trilogies and a lot of duologies. So now what I want to do in the next week or so is to create a 3rd sheet in my elaborate spreadsheet of series and find some new authors and some new series to read in 2021. So if there's any series that you can think of that are thrillers, mysteries, like for example, I read the Lucy Stone series by Leslie Meyer. That was like 26 books. I caught up with that. I'm reading the Johanna Fluke series. I think I'm only 6 books into that. I'm reading the Janet Ivanovich series. I'm only maybe 6 books into that. So if you can think of any cozy mystery series, thriller series, anything along that line that you want to recommend to me as I recreate or add to my series spreadsheet, I would love to find out what you think I might like, and I will add them in for 2020. But that's it for now. I will edit this video briefly just to incorporate a couple of screenshots. One screenshot will be the 2018, 2019, and 2020 goals that I met, and the other screenshot I will bring in will basically show you the 626 books that I read with over 204,000 pages that I read, because my average is about 327 pages per book at about 600 pages a day. So I will just give you those 2 screenshots in this video, but other than that, I'm going to upload it. And I am going back to Marian Lane and the Midnight Murder to finish that today, and get back on the train and let all this chaos and foolishness that has been shrouding me go, and get back to my love of reading, blogging, and all things good. So that's it for now. Bye-bye.